Earlier, I made a video about Nate Gerry getting traded to the 49ers, but I found that I didn't quite get out all my feelings in that video. I've still got some more ranting to do about Mr. Gerry. But before the ranting, a little more celebration. No more Gerry! Woo! Yes! Yes! He's gone! He's gonna blow coverage for the 49ers! He's gonna miss tackles in San Francisco! Okay, that's enough. Alright, so now that the celebration is out of the way, week after week, I always see the back of one jersey. The back of one jersey in particular. Number 47. Number 47. Gerry had this habit. He had this constant habit of always running up to a play after the play was over. It's like, what are you doing? Like, he's running up to the play like he did something. You didn't do nothing. He didn't do nothing. In fact, speaking of jerseys, you ever notice how often this dude had a clean uniform? Like, you look at all these other players like Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Javon Hargrave. You look at their jerseys and stuff, they're all dirty. They got streaks of dirt and everything. They look dirty. And then you look at Mr. Gerry. You look at Mr. Gerry. Look how squeaky clean that uniform is. It's squeaky clean because he's not doing anything. He's steady missing tackles. He's steady blowing assignments. He's steady just absolutely making a mockery of coverage. He's just sitting there out on the field, just existing. And so, like, it seemed every week, no matter how bad Gerry played, he would never get pulled from the game. He would never get pulled from the game. I'm thinking, like, why is Nate Gerry still on the field? Why is he still out here? Like, where's Sean Bradley? Where's Davion Taylor? Where are these other guys? Put Nate Gerry on the bench. And then, but that goes beyond Gerry. That, in fairness to Gerry, that goes beyond him. I have to blame another person for that. And that other person is Mr. Jim Schwartz. Mr. Jim Schwartz. So, there's like a running joke that Howie Roseman has nude pictures of Jeffrey Lurie blackmail. And if that's the case, then Nate Gerry has pictures of Jim Schwartz on Epstein Island. I do not understand how, as the season went on, like, Jim Schwartz, is he really looking at Nate Gerry and saying, this is a really good linebacker? Is he seriously looking at Nate Gerry and saying he gives us a better chance to win? Like, what is Jim Schwartz doing? Like, does Nate Gerry have a relationship with one of Jim Schwartz's daughters or something? Well, actually, I'm not even sure if Jim Schwartz has a daughter, but it's like, what's going on? Like, Gerry has some ammo on Jim Schwartz, because I will never understand how he's able to go out here and suck so much balls, suck so much lemons, and Jim Schwartz is totally oblivious and keeping him out there in the game. It's like he's killing us. He's killing us. And so I mentioned in an earlier video that the 49ers come to Lincoln Financial Field this season. If we want to win that game, well, we got to hope that Nate Gerry's starting. We could win the game anyway, but we could especially win if Nate Gerry's starting. So the strategy for the game, throw at his direction on every play. We can't lose. You remember how bad Nate Gerry is in coverage. Remember how Claypool torched him on 3rd and 8 when everything was on the line in Pittsburgh. Remember how Lamar Jackson completely made him look foolish on that long touchdown run. Remember how Tyler Higbee had like 3 touchdowns on Gerry in week 2. Tyler Higbee out here looking like Travis Kelce. We can't lose. Like, just throw at Gerry the entire game and we win. We win. I pray that Nate Gerry is starting in that game, because I want my revenge on Gerry. I can't stand there's a bunch of Eagles players that I really don't like, that I really didn't like. People like Kerry Williams, people like DeMarco Murray, Byron Maxwell, Nolan Carroll. What was that other dude? I said Carroll already. Byron Maxwell, Nolan Carroll, DeMarco Murray, Kerry Williams, I said that. Well, I can't remember the other dude, but these were Eagles that I really disliked. But Nate Gerry, oh, Gerry! He's high on that list. He's like really high on that list. I even made a little jingle about Gerry, actually. Nate Gerry, so bad that he's scary. Nate Gerry makes me want to pull out all of my hairy. Nate Gerry, better tackles come from my friend named Larry. That's Nate Gerry. Oh, Nate Gerry. Nate Gerry, so bad that he's scary. Makes me want to pull out all my hairy. Better tackles come from my friend Larry. That's Nate Gerry, Nate Gerry, Nate Gerry. But guess what? We don't have to worry about him anymore. So, number 47, goodbye, adios.